been called. I mean,
Yeah.
drag is not a positive word. Drag is like drag.
But I guess some great movements.
But queen is a positive word.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. That's just what it's called. No, I don't mind.
Exploratory. That's too hard. Pop.
Wait, I just had it. Self-expression.
Self-expression. Yes.
Expression and exploring.
Yeah.
Exploring, because I mean, I feel like I have it best because I can do both. I can be a man and I can be a woman, and I can see, and you see the world differently through the different ways, and you get to see different things, and you get different reactions from people. So I get to see a side of straight males when I'm like this that I don't ever get to see as John.
What side is?
It's like a vulnerable side. It's a vulnerable, because women have real power over men. They do, and you don't get to see that as a man. You do get to see it as a woman.
But don't you think that a cute boy has just as much power over men?
Over straight men?
Yeah.
Or straight men?
Straight men, yeah. But since we're saying everybody has a feminine side, I think...
Maybe, but they don't show it. They don't show it.
It's used in a different way because what's set up in our minds as male-female and then male-male, it's different. He does have power over him, but the way they would approach what's happening between them would be totally different.
Well, society's conditioned them to where they can't go across that line.
Right.
They can't react in a certain way. But if it's a female, and even if it's a male dressed as a female, and they could at least say, well, I was drunk, I didn't know.
Right.
You know, they still, you know, it doesn't matter. They give this thing. And it's also...
well, it's all in the accessories.
It's accessories too. And also, really, sometimes like males are so conditioned to react to the accessories that make a female that it doesn't really matter what's down in the pants. It's they're reacting to the fantasy.
Yeah.
Plus,
the fantasy.
they want what's in the pants anyway.
Well, some do, some don't, and some don't care. Some just get into the fantasy, whether it's a male or a female.
Yeah, and everybody loves playing with toys. All the accessories are so much fun and stuff. I think females get just as turned on by it too, and they say that women dress for other women. You know?
Oh yeah, because I get reactions from girls who dress like this. And it's like, you know, it's like this knowing thing, kind of like, all right, go ahead, girl. You know, I get that from women too.
People love that. People love anybody who's expressing themselves, whether they show it negatively or positively. You know.
Now, what about someone like Christina, say, who terrorizes people?
I think Christina's brilliant because she is just beyond. Her thing doesn't even have to do with being in drag. She is just. I don't know what she.
Yeah.
I just love her though.
Yeah, it's hard.
Did you see that show when she attacked a person?
Well, there's all kinds of drag, but I think a lot of this drag in the East Village is social terrorism.
Oh yeah.
But
There's
a very
a part of that.
friendly
There's part of that. Also, it's just the fantasy that you've created, and then you live it. You run out in public and you just live this fantasy, and I get pleasure out of, I don't want to say shocking, or I get pleasure out of the reactions I get, and the fantasy, my fantasy going through a certain setup, like a certain club or on the street or something like that, and it's the thing that's created by that, you know, and then
it shatters. It's
like going to see a movie.
You've been taught in a way, because it's like detergent is to grease, and it's a great scene. It's like breaking down everything you've ever been taught. So you say, now if this is like a fantasy and just a facade, and you coming through this knowing that you were this and this, like everybody's reacting to this, it goes on down the line with their being in drag, and everybody's in drag.
Everybody's in drag.
Everybody's in drag unless you're naked.
Where do you draw the line?
Of course
Where do you
you
draw
are.
the line?
But
Where do you draw the line, right?
the thing is, watch this for recreation. The thing is, I can't understand with how, when in the 14th and 15th centuries, when guys went around wearing lace, and I feel like it's a bad talk show on like Channel 5, you know, like having this rap session. How guys like sat around, you know, in wigs and lace and stuff, and then what happened? Like, why didn't we progress and go further from that? I mean,
What if we put them in uniforms?
yeah, it's just weird. And, you know, the male, me and Ru were talking about before, but the male, you know, it follows nature that the male is always the most beautiful of the species. And
I think it started, the cover-up started with Cromwell in England.
Yeah.
but the thing is, So I don't see why that they can't make themselves beautiful and just
yeah,
wear.
What
makes makeup female? What makes anything female?
Why do you think it's just in Atlanta and New York that you have this culture?
Well, don't you think there's probably one in a lot more places than you realize?
Yeah.
Because I know there's one in Asbury Park, like, it's not as big as here, but there, you got your drag queens running around
Yeah,
there.
Nelson, you've been to San Francisco. What's the drag scene like there?
Is there,
you know?
It's nothing like the drag scene here. It's a totally different
Well,
aesthetic
yeah,
starting point. The aesthetic starting point here is totally different than anywhere else.
Yeah, it is.
The only thing similar I've seen is in Atlanta. And it's
What characterizes this particular starting point? I mean, why are we... What is this?
Because this was never merely drag. This was art first and drag second.
Well, we've all been drawn here because of the pop star phenomenon. What do you do if you want to be a pop star? You go to New York and you sell it.
Wait.
And then once you're here, to be able to make money, as for me, people love to pay me for my drags. I do it awfully wonderfully, you know, especially drag because that's what the people want, or that's what's happened to be happening. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg.
But do you think it's become a big American taste? Like,
I hope so.
drag will be like.
It's a wonderful
really
flavor.
popular.
It's a wonderful flavor.
It is.
Well, I don't know.
It's fake, and it's not hard to do, and it works every time, and it's fun, and breaking taboos, breaking through those, you know, taboos is really fun.
Just say yes! Just say yes!
Yeah.
Now wait, I heard somebody told me once about 12 people coming and meeting, like 12 superpowers. Now wouldn't it be great if they were like 12 super ferocious drag queens? And that's what's happening now. The 12 are gathering. The 12 are gathering.
It's true. Suppress that. End up being a little bit more dangerous and self-hating.
One thing I think is amazing is that when I was in band, we went to little towns and we played, and I was a boy. That was one thing. But then I started doing a girl in the band, and I would go to these dumb little towns in like Memphis, Tennessee, Memphis. We'd go into a club, and there'd be like nothing but rednecks drinking beers, waiting for the band to come on, and I would think, oh my God. And so I'd go out on the stage, and I could see hostile faces at first, but within the course of the show, the fantasy got to work, and by the end of the show, they were screaming and hollering and having a great time, and weren't afraid.
That's because Lahoma could get a smile out of a statue.
But it's something that's going on in their head that at first they're hostile,
right?
And then it's like you know.
Because they see you're okay.
Yeah.
You know, they see you're just a normal girl.
But it's still a breakthrough in their heads.
Oh, sure it is.
Because
that's why it's
who would have thought that these these like drunk fraternity boys next to their drunk fraternity buddies would say, okay, that's okay. When any other time they drag you out of, drag you and beat you up, you know.
No matter what, we are all the same thing, you know, and that's just one more step closer to that, which is great. Which is
businessman when his
the photographer's calling.
When his chick goes to the bathroom and then he comes
pain
in
is pleasure. Pain is pleasure when it comes to fashion. You pulled the plug on that last part.
I didn't know it's all right.
Okay.
Okay, what's up with Lahoma?
Sometimes if you notice I'm not sporting anything.
I do.
And I'd like to have my face straight on, is that okay?